Hello, everyone. I'm Joanne Binford, and welcome to Binford Chronicles. Today on Binford Chronicles, we're joined by now retired Deputy Chief Lance Fisher from the Palm Bay Police Department. Lance is a content creator and owner of Thin Blue Lie Audits. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps from 94 to 2020. Lance began his law enforcement career in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and in 2004, with his wife and 4 children, he moved to Florida to join the Palm Bay Police Department. So we're going to take a short break and return with Deputy Chief Lance Fisher.
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At CSPOA.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever. Visit CSPOA.org and join the Sheriff's Citizens Posse today. Make a difference. Stand for freedom. That's CSPOA.org. Your country, your fight, your future.
Welcome aboard, Deputy Chief Fisher, right?
Retired, but yes, ma'am, Deputy Chief.
Yeah, so welcome aboard on Binford Chronicles. Start us off by telling us a little about yourself.
Well, so I started out, I was in the United States Marine Corps from 94 to 2000. I may have typoed, you said 2020, but I did 6 years in the United States Marine Corps. And while I was still a Marine, I went to the Police Department Academy in North Carolina. And I worked for Rocky Mount, North Carolina for about 4.5 years. And then my family and I moved to Palm Bay, and that's where I became an officer of the Palm Bay Police Department. And so I was there until September 2nd of 2024.
Yeah, well, you did a really great job over there. I mean, you had like 4 promotions while you were there.
Yes, ma'am. I was grateful for the time that I had there until the last year and a half. That's when things turned on me.
Yeah, and then you started your YouTube to try to talk about the training that kind of showing off how officers need to have better training so that they can handle situations better, right?
Yes, ma'am. So, as a deputy chief, I started seeing what I believe to be an increase in some of our use of force cases, some unnecessary use of forces, and some of them were probably, well, they weren't. They were on the level of excessive force. And so I started having conversations with my chief about, hey, we got to do something with these use of forces because we saw it all in one squad. So it was the same officers over and over. We had probably 5 officers all in the same squad, and they were having like 8 use of forces within a 90-day period, where some of our officers wouldn't have any uses of forces in a year. And so him and I started having conversations. And so the more I spoke out, the more I kind of alienated myself from the command staff until ultimately I filed complaints, and then I was separated from the Palm Bay Police Department.
Wow, that's crazy. But you've got a lot of content out there. You've caught some really good shots of, and you get these through the public requests, right? Because you have to request them from their body cameras.
Yes, ma'am. So all the content that I put out there is stuff that's been sent to me. My city manager is like, well, Deputy Chief Fisher, he's out here, he's cost us $75,000 to $100,000 in public records requests. He's starting rumors, and that's just not true. Everything that I have has come from either citizens or the very Palm Bay Police Department officers that still work there and are not happy with the direction it's going, are not happy working next to some of these officers. So everything that I have is absolutely been given to me. And yeah, I do public records requests. And that's why if you heard City Manager Morton, he says intense fear. And that's because I know what I'm looking for. I know every detail. I know where they hide their stuff. As a retired deputy chief, I was a part of the problem, but I absolutely know what to look for and where to find it. And so my goal now, and I always thought my journey was law enforcement, but I've come to find out that my journey began after law enforcement, because my time now is I get to serve the citizens that don't have a voice. Because for 2 years as a retired deputy chief, I tried to get somebody to do an or an investigation, somebody to look at what was going on within my very own police department, and I couldn't. So I realized that if a retired deputy chief couldn't get any justice or any movement, couldn't get any answers, then there's no way that a citizen can can push against the system. It's just flawed.
Yeah, and it takes money too, you
Uh,
know?
yeah, absolutely.
It
Lots of
takes a
money.
lot of money to do all that.
Yeah.
And, so what kind of training do you think it needs to be at the chief level? How does that get rectified? How does it get fixed?
Well, here's what I keep saying. So we train hard for that incident that may never occurred. We're always training for that deadly force encounter, but we don't train for the daily encounter. The upset citizen, the citizen is disgruntled. When there's conflict right there at the beginning of a traffic stop. We don't train for those simple little encounters, and that's what I believe. That's what happens. That's where a lot of our use of forces begin. Is when we as officers don't treat our citizens right. And a citizen has a bad day or an officer has a bad day, and it's that initial confrontation that's not de-escalated. So de-escalation training, I believe, is essential, but we don't train on that every day. We may sign a piece of paper or we'll go and do a digital training and check a little box, but we don't do scenario-based training on de-escalation. The only training that we do in our firearms training and stuff like that is deadly force encounters. And most of us in law enforcement will never see that day. But every officer every day will see a disgruntled citizen. And it's how do you react to that citizen, and that's what I believe. And as far as chiefs, I've been to all the leadership schools. I've been to the FBI National Academy. I've been to SMIP in Boston. I've done the FBI leaded trilogies. I've been to the leads here in Florida. I'm in the top 1% of law enforcement leadership. And everything we talk about is transparency, building trust in our community. But then you look at these social media pages of police departments, like the Palm Beach Police Department, they cut off the comments. They did it because of me. So they don't want to be transparent. They want to just gaslight the citizens. There is no transparency. And when you talk about building trust in the community, and this is what I talk about, your police chiefs will go out there and they'll go to all your meetings. They'll do your community leader meetings. They'll sit at the NAACP meetings and they'll say all these big words. And at that same time, you'll have one of their own officers will be violating the rights of a citizen. So as a chief is standing at the podium trying to build that trust, your officers are literally deteriorating it. And when you don't hold them accountable, you're the problem. When a chief of police will not hold his officers accountable, he's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, you guys on a daily basis deal with so many different personalities. uh, every citizen is different. You've got your calm citizens, you've got your citizens that don't trust the police at all, that ask a lot of questions. Why are you pulling me over? And some of your videos, I see that they don't even respond, which creates more anxiety in that person that already doesn't trust the police, and it kind of makes it go sideways instead of it's almost like a lesson in how to de-escalate that moment and make that person feel like, hey, you're just pulling them over for this reason. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, ma'am. So I have to say this. I support law enforcement. I've always supported law enforcement. It's been 25 years of my career. But it's weird because the second I started criticizing my very own police department, I hear things like trade or defund the police. My own deputy mayor, Mayor Jaffe, says, "I'm embarrassed you're ever the deputy chief of the Palm Bay Police Department. You turned your back on your brothers and sisters in blue." And I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm trying to protect them because if we don't hold certain officers accountable, that places the entire police department in scrutiny within the
Mm,
citizens, and
it does.
that distrust absolutely builds up because it takes one bad encounter. It's called, we talk about procedural justice. How does somebody make you feel? It's not what you can do, it's what you should do. So officers should, it's not, officers are based on what they should have done, not what they could have done. We can absolutely, use force against somebody, but should we have given them more time? Should we have tried to de-escalate? And I think that's the issues. And when you talk about right, a lot of the cases start right at the very beginning of a traffic stop or a bicycle encounter or a pedestrian stop. What'd you stop me for? I need your license, registration, insurance. What did you stop me for? No, give me, I'm in control. I'm the one running the scene. You're not. And that's how it goes. When even a simple policy, like Palm Bay Police Department has a policy. How you doing? My name is Lance Fisher with the Palm Bay Police Department. The reason I stopped you for speeding, is there any justification for that? I've said it so many times, I still remember it, and I haven't stopped a car in 8 years. But instead of officers just simply starting out with that simple greeting that's in their policy, that's what they do. They go up to the car, and keep in mind, Joanne, we don't know where that officer just came from. We don't know that call that he just left. It could have been a serious injury to a child, a death to a child. It could have been a homicide scene. We have no idea. And so officers are human. So they don't, sometimes they're going from scene to scene. They may go to the domestic violence call, right over to another call, and they never get a chance to decompress. And that's one of the problems in law enforcement. We used to try to tell our supervisors, let officers decompress. If it takes an hour or a day, if they're on a horrific scene, don't send them to another call, because this is
Right.
absolutely what's going to happen. And I'm not making excuses, because citizens that are mistreated, they don't care about excuses. They only care about what happened to them. And that's the problem. And they will forever remember that. So, and I try to highlight this incident where I think we may show it, where a Palm Bay citizen, Tamara Hatcher, she's arrested for a flock hit, but the officer ends up pursuing her to her house, kicking in her door, dragging her out of the house. She's pregnant, she's screaming, and all this. And there's video of her being grabbed by the throat, struck in the face, and a thumb being driven into her neck, all while she's handcuffed. And her 2-year-old daughter is standing there watching all this. And I went to a council meeting. I listened to the father describe how the 2-year-old daughter is reenacting her. And you think, and it doesn't matter how many times Chief Spears of the Palm Bay Police Department goes to the podium and talks about building trust in his minority community, that 2-year-old will never trust the police.
Yeah, that's true. Let's play that clip. We've got that clip here. We can play it. So let's bring it up. Hold on. I want to stop it because you can't hear what's going on. It's a short clip. I didn't play the whole one.
Stop! 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 Get down! Get down! You're under arrest! Stop!
And he just throws her to the ground. You could see where it just busted her door open.
Yes,
Right
ma'am.
here.
It's pretty chaotic.
Right there. Look at that fly-in. He busted her door and her door was closed. Right there, her door is closed.
Well, you and I believe that, but every Palm Bay police report says that she slammed the door on him and he stuck his foot out.
Yeah, he's nowhere near that door. And then
Nowhere near
he
the
kicks
door.
it open, and what's that called? The door jam? It flies right off right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. And that's PTSD. And like you said, her child was there to see that.
Yeah.
And
And she's on the phone with 911 at the time. She's on the phone with 911. When she was on the traffic stop, she'd asked for a supervisor. She called 911 because she's afraid of this officer standing at her window, getting ready to break it, because she doesn't like his demeanor. So she's already asked for a supervisor. She's calling 911. He starts to smash her window, and for her safety, she drives off. And he chases her to her house, and that's what you're seeing. All over a flock camera hit, all over an insurance violation. And it's not even her car.
wow.
And that's how this all started. It's very chaotic. And you're right. You have clear evidence there that door is closed. And in every police report, signed all the way through the chain of command up to the commander, signed off by the internal affairs sergeant, the use of force says that she tried to slam the door on him and he stuck his foot out. And if you look closely, and you kind of mentioned it there with the door jam, she tells me she locked the door. And I believe that's accurate because a lot of that damage is right there at the door lock. And I've been a part of enough search warrants to see the damage of a door after it's been forced open. And then she's standing in the kitchen. So I don't know if she teleported or how she got there so fast. No, I only say that because one of my viewers' comments were like, she must have teleported because If she
Right.
slammed the door on him, she's standing in the kitchen when she did it.
Yeah, she
And
was
so,
way inside
yeah,
the residence. She was in the kitchen.
yes, ma'am. And this and several other reports that I've shown, they're just flat lies. And this one's still going to court because they charged her with the felony fleeing to elude, resisting arrest, and she ended up spending 7 months in jail and gave birth to her child while she was still in custody.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me is we have so many great officers out there, and I've seen them in action where they're gentle and they're talking, and and they're putting people at ease. And then you've got officers that need some more training, or they need another line of work, and you kind of want the police department to address that, but it sounds like they're not addressing those issues, and I don't know if it's why someone wouldn't want to address those issues and make the police force stronger and have a better reputation.
You would think because in this particular case, he's not even the officer that stopped the vehicle. The officer that stopped the vehicle was very calm and collect, was actually letting her go, giving her a warning. Officer Sean Rollins stopped that officer and escalated it from there. And that's how it all started. So yeah, so you have Officer Feld on scene, who's calm and collect, and then you have Officer Rollins, which he's done time and time again. Every single video I've seen of him, he escalates the situation. You know why? Because he's been doing it since Columbia, South Carolina. He's been doing it since I think it was 2018 or 2019. I've seen it.
So
And there's
he might not be retrainable. you
no,
know
there's
I mean,
paperwork.
if he's been doing it that long, it's like an old dog. You can't retrain an old dog you
No,
know
and nobody's told him he's wrong. Nobody from Columbia, South Carolina to Mascot, Florida to Palm Bay has told him he's wrong. Every police chief, and if you look at and you can Google him, Officer Sean Rollins, Columbia, South Carolina, you look at the police chief and he says, well, we may have messed up. Kind of saying he had all these complaints and we didn't accurately investigate them. And ultimately, I think it was February 17th of 2021, I believe, there was a sustained IA and there's two conflicting documents. The South Carolina Training Justice Academy says that he was terminated for misconduct, but there's also resignation paperwork. And the belief is there that he probably went back and sued the police department and they said, okay, we'll let you resign in lieu of termination. But then when he fills out his application with Palm Bay, he never mentions any of that, even though it's in the hiring packet. And so that's what you have. You have an officer that's not retrainable, and you have an officer that's not only never told he's wrong, they're hiding him behind a desk right now. They took him off the road sometime in December or January, and I was told by officers within the Palm Bay Police Department it was to hide him from me, so I couldn't get any more body camera video of him. That way he could get off of probation because in 1 month he will successfully complete his probation, even though he's been off the road for 5 months now.
Wow. It's mind-boggling. We have another scene where an officer's pulling a pedestrian over on the bicycle, but I noticed in this video the language that the officer used, and it's not the language that any officer has ever used with me. They're always professional. They always tell me why they're pulling me over, or there's always a reason. It's you're never left wondering. So I'm
Hmm.
going to pull that one up.
What's up, buddy?
Buddy, why are you
Yeah.
stopping me?
Hey, where you going?
I'm going for a bike ride like my
Hey, get back.
So I noticed him. He's like, "What's up, buddy? Hey, where are you going?" Like, it's weird,
Yeah, because and
you
and I
know?
got I got this video from a citizen who was actually running for mayor at the time, and she believes that this is her birthday, so she believes that this was actually that she was targeted because she was outspoken against our current mayor in an incident involving a firearm. So she believes that this was a targeted attack against a political opponent. And you're right. What I believe started this, I believe he was trying to do a consensual encounter. Basically, he had no reason to stop him. So he's just trying to be, hey, buddy, hey, friend, hey, can we talk for a second? And when that failed, he OODA looped. His mind didn't know what to do. And, well, oh, well, you can't get away from me. And that's when he changed it
Right.
from a
And we
consensual encounter to what he's trying to do now is detain him.
right, and we see this right
That's
here.
you too. He's riding off on me. Stop your bike right now.
Stop what?
Stop your bike right
Hold
now.
up a second.
No.
Hold up.
No. Put your phone down. Get
What are you doing? I'm riding.
Get on the ground.
I got a light
on
on
the
me.
ground.
So none of us knows why he's stopping him at this point. He doesn't know why he's stopping him. It's I would be nervous and scared. I mean, I he doesn't seem violent to me. He seems like he's trying to do everything the cop is telling him to do, but he's like confused, like what's going on?
Joanne, I've read every police report involving this incident and watched every video, and I still don't know why he stopped him. I know why he says he stopped him.
Mm-hmm.
Dog on a leash. He says his dog was not on a leash. 5 yards, he said he was in 5 yards in front of his dog. But somehow that dog miraculously was able to catch up and put his leash right there on the bike. While the officers, after this gentleman, he wants you to believe that somehow this gentleman was able to grab his dog and put him on and tie him to that bike.
Yeah, because he's tied to the handlebars.
Yes, ma'am. And
So
so once again, I believe that we have an officer who tried to do a consensual encounter, and when it went south, I call it working your case backwards. When you violate somebody's civil rights, and then you have to figure out why you did it, and that's what I believe happened here.
yeah, and I kind of felt bad for the guy because he was trying to do everything that he said. We can listen to it here, but I
And
would
you're
be
threatening to
panicked.
tase me or shoot me. Why?
Do it too. I have him off his bike. He's on the ground. He's
You
refusing to
have
put his
him?
Oh,
hands behind his back.
I
Excuse
didn't
me?
keep the whole
Excuse me?
video, but
Have him?
oh, there it is.
Who's him?
You.
It's just
Why is
stopping. I
that?
don't
The
know
reason
what it is.
I was trying to explain to you
Why?
why I was stopping you,
Why?
but you decided to ride off on me.
Explain to me? You didn't try to explain nothing.
Oh,
took
it's
off
the
on me.
internet.
You took off on your where? I'm sitting right here. You stopped in the car and you pulled
When I
the
stopped
taser
you
out
back
on me.
there, you took off
Mister,
on me.
you ain't got no business stopping me.
You had your dog off leash. That's why I was
Mister,
stopping
you ain't got no business stopping
Okay.
me. You see my dog on his leash?
Okay, he is now. When I originally saw you back there,
Now
the dog
my
wasn't
ass,
on the
okay?
leash.
Now my ass.
So,
Yeah.
and here's what's interesting. So
What?
oh, it's playing again. So I didn't know if you were,
No, it wasn't. I was going to switch up.
oh, so here's what's interesting though. He says several times throughout the encounter, I was going to explain the city ordinance on dog off a leash. And so I spent over an hour trying to research the city ordinance, the Palm Bay city ordinance for dog on a leash. I couldn't find it. I found something that referred to the Brevard County dog on a leash. And so, and then there is no Florida state statute. It tells municipalities you have the right to do your own city ordinances for animals at large. So I don't know what he was going to explain to him. If he was going to go through that whole mumble jumble about, well, we don't have a policy, but Brevard County has a policy. There's no Florida state. So I don't know. And you're right. He could have easily right up front said, "Hey, the reason I was trying to stop you was the dog on the bike," but he's not. He's super aggressive. And here's the difference. This is where I think officers forget. Citizens are not trained for high stress situations. They're not. They're not trained to have somebody smashing in their window. They're not trained to have somebody running up behind them in a vehicle like that with their lights on, and then all of a sudden they got two dots on their chest and somebody's screaming at them to get on the ground. Citizens are not trained for these situations. Police officers are. So when the police officer loses control of the situation, it's lost. I mean, are we expecting that citizen to de-escalate, be like, "Hey, officer," and start talking super slow and calm? "Hey, do you mind not putting that taser on me?" No, the citizen's not trained. It's the officer's job to de-escalate, not the citizen's job. We have a right as citizens to be angry, to be irate, to be confused. And that's the problem. Officers, they see those as trying to trump them, trying to control the situation. And citizens are just confused because they're not trained for these type of scenarios.
Yeah, officers are in the position to calm that person down and make them feel at ease, or the opposite, like what we've seen. And fortunately, police stations have more of the calming effect, and it's just the few in the police station that need to either get more training or move on to another job. But I think it feels like the station's not really doing their duty at getting the counseling that officer needs, or if the officer fails the training, letting them go? Or is it a union thing? Is it hard to get rid of an officer because of the union?
It's definitely harder when they become after they get off of probation. That's why it's so important that they're hiding Sean Rollins, because off probation, literally you just sign up, you just write up a piece of paper that says your services are no longer needed. If you're on probation, that's all you need, and you're done, you're gone. Once you get off of probation and you're protected by the union, yeah, there are certain steps you have to do, but you can still hold people accountable. And I'm not saying gut punch somebody to or destroy their career.
Mm-hmm.
But in a situation like this, had anybody reviewed this and said, hey, you weren't professional, you escalated when you should have de-escalated, and it doesn't have to be anything except simple verbal counseling for a supervisor to say, hey, Officer Dumont, next time, be more clear in your directives. Stop. Palm Bay Police Department, the reason I'm stopping you is for the dog. That clears up any miscommunication, and it makes your video look so much better. So now citizens can't say, well, he thought it was consensual. He didn't ever give him a direct order. Just be very direct. And then secondly, you know, when you hold these officers accountable for the small things, they won't graduate to the bigger things. If you hold somebody accountable in the very beginning for the small things, they're not going to be using excessive force. They're not going to push those limits, because we're human, just like children. They'll push the limits until they find out, okay, here's the boundaries. And that's what we have to do as leaders. And that's where leaders fail. A lot of what I talk about is failed leadership and failed accountability at the top levels. Because this could have simply been, hey, don't do this again. If it escalates, you put it in a blue book, and the third time you write them up. And that's what discipline is. It's progressive, but it's designed to change behavior. And there's sometimes you just can't change behavior, right? I've talked about that. When you have an officer that tells the trainee, pull up beside this guy because he ran a red light and he won't stop and he's on a motorcycle, I'm going to tase him off the motorcycle. And the next thing you know, on 6 lanes of Palm Bay Road, this guy's crashed his motorcycle with a broken clavicle and I think 5 ribs. And then the officer says in the IA report, I did nothing wrong. I did not violate policy. You can't correct that behavior. You cannot do it.
Wow.
And so I tell the chief, he needs to be terminated and he needs to be sent to the state attorney's office for prosecution. And Chief Jello said no. And then 4 months later, that same officer is tasing Thomas Farley off of a fence line, a dangerous situation. He breaks his neck, paralyzed, and ultimately succumbs to his wounds. And that's what happens when we don't hold officers accountable for the small things. They get out of control to something you can't protect them from.
Yeah. Do they ever take an officer off probation and then make him shadow like another officer before he goes out on his own again? Or do they just put him back out on their own again?
Sometimes if somebody's struggling in FTO, we will do that. It's not very common. We try to keep the FTO phase consistent, but sometimes we'll push them back to another phase. Like if they're in third phase or checkoff and they're not doing what we expect for that level, we will send them back. We've actually done it to officers. If they're in their first year or and they're having issues, we'll send them back to retraining. Sometimes we'll send them out to the range to get retrained. We'll put them through de-escalation training, or we'll put them with another officer and have them retrained.
So de-escalation training, that's de-escalating the anger in people and or any situation.
It could be on any situation. I mean, but that's the idea. If somebody's not handling the situation well, if they're being overly aggressive, our job through verbal judo is to try to de-escalate them. And then when that doesn't work, you simply tell them what the outcomes. Listen, if you don't put your hands behind your back, I'm going to play. It's very simple. It's 3 steps. Sir, I need you to turn around. You're under arrest. Place your hands behind your back. They refuse to do that. Sir, turn around. Put your hands behind your back. If you don't do so, I'm going to tase you. You'll be charged with resisting arrest. And the third time, you do whatever you said you were going to do. But you give them those opportunities to comply. And that's what de-escalation is.
So, Lance, I saw this video. It's Officer Rollins, and he pulled a lady over, and I wanted to play that because I was like, I've been pulled over for, I've gotten a speeding ticket, and it shouldn't take that long, and this took almost 40 minutes to process, and he eventually had to let her go. So I wanted to pull this up so we can talk about that because I've never seen anything like this. It's just I've had a speeding ticket in my life, and probably two, but I've never had this. And I just was like, he should have just introduced himself, written out the citations to her, and let her go. But so much drama came out of this. And how do we train them to not do this?
Excuse me?
If you roll this down, I can't see through.
The window doesn't go down, it's broke.
Is there anybody in there?
You push the window down, it'll go down.
Get your driver's license, registration, insurance.
What's the problem?
I'll tell you as soon as I get your driver's
No,
license.
you should give me the reason.
Again, what's the problem? Why did I get pulled over? And it's funny when we find out why she got
I'm
pulled
not going to
over.
argue with
And
you.
I
I
want
need
your
your driver's
supervisor.
license. That's fine. I'll get him en route,
Okay.
but you need to give me your driver's license or you're
What
going to
did
be
I
placed under
do?
arrest.
What did I do?
I'll tell you the reason for the stop. You need to give me your driver's license.
In the world?
You have the registration insurance card as well, please.
So I thought she was pretty compliant right now, considering he wasn't telling her why she was pulled over.
Tell you the reason for the stop.
No, she's already asked for a
You're going, under
supervisor.
the speed limit.
He's already threatened to
Twice,
arrest her
okay?
already.
That's fine. Thank you, sir.
5 miles under the speed limit?
You're going
You're
30.
actually,
Would you like to let me
my,
finish?
my speed limit's right here.
Would you like to let me finish? You're going 34 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone in the left lane. You got to be in the right lane if you want to travel slow, okay? You're obstructing traffic. Score state statute, you got to stay in the left lane on multi-lane highway.
I gotta tell you, when I heard that, I was like, only because there's so many people riding in the fast lane that are going slower than the slow lane.
Yes, ma'am. But here's the difference. She has an officer on her, excuse me, she has an officer on her right side, which none of us will pass a police officer, not even me. And she's making a left-hand turn. That's the problem. She's not on 95 where I want to do Mach 100, and you got that Texan or that Canadian doing 70 in the left lane. She's in the left lane on a road that's doing 45. The officer is in the right-hand lane driving 34 miles an hour, and she doesn't feel comfortable passing him because that's disrespectful. And so that's the problem. But you're right. And I don't know of many officers that will pull anybody over for that, but I'm all in favor of it on 95, but not when somebody's slowing down to make a left-hand lane or just refusing to go by an officer. That's just me.
All right, let's see what else happens here.
Also, I didn't see your seatbelt on when I was behind you, okay?
It's right here, I just took it off.
No, I didn't see it. I checked multiple times, and as I walked up, it's unbuckled, so it looked like you tried to put it on when I walked up.
If I could real quick.
So I wanted to ask you too, right here, because he ends up getting the driver's license of the passenger. Why?
Yes, ma'am. because the passenger gave it to him. That's why. But here's what's interesting. So this is the same officer in the video of kicking in the door. And I talked about inconsistencies in his statement in that report. So when he first walked up to this car, he asked her to roll the windows down because he couldn't see inside. And now he's telling her, you didn't, or he's saying, I couldn't see that you had your seatbelt on. Not that she didn't have it on, but he's saying, I couldn't see inside. When I looked in the windows, I couldn't see that you had a seatbelt on. But when he first walked up to the car, he says, please roll your windows down because I can't see inside. And this is the inconsistencies I talk about when we have to work our cases backwards. So he's trying to build a case, but he's not consistent with his statements. And yeah, so he does. He asks the passenger for ID, and the passenger gives it to him.
Yeah, I was like, why? Who cares who's in the car? You're supposed to be talking to the driver, because if the driver had the infraction, it wasn't everybody else in the car.
Well, I found out after I put this video on, he knew who these two people were. He'd been to their house before. He'd been to their house. Matter of fact, that passenger in the other video that I haven't put out yet tells him during that scene, "Oh, you've been to my house several times." But later on in this very video, they acted like he had no idea who these two individuals were. So here's what happened. They were riding beside him on Malabar Road. He looked over, recognized them, and now he makes up that reason for the stop. And he used the speed, and that's a fact. And
So, like, do
I don't know how far
cops?
you're going to play this video, so I'll just wait before I continue on.
Okay, I did some snippets to cut out the rest of the stuff.
Registration's right there.
So he's got the 2 licenses there. She shows her insurance.
Is it in that blue thing?
If I want to get this one.
It's supposed to be in that blue thing.
Can I just get the insurance card next?
Yes, oversight, Edgeville.
That's the registration
See, I don't
card
think
on
she
the
was
ticket.
belligerent at all.
I can't
Not
get
at
into
all.
my app. I have it on my photos. I just have to find it.
And even if she was, she has a legal right to be.
Even with,
That's an expired card.
and I was thinking this when he said it's expired, like he could have wrote her a ticket for an expired registration, and then she can go to court and show the registration that's renewed and get that taken off. But it
Inter-
seems to escalate after this.
Yes, ma'am. So interesting enough, she went to court, and I was going there to testify on her behalf and to put Officer Sean Rollins' history on the record. He never showed up for court. So she went to court, and they had to dismiss it. He didn't even take the time after all of this to even go to court to substantiate his claims because he knew that they were false. And I was
Wow.
willing. I was willing with an attorney to go there, get on the stand, and I wanted to put his Columbia, South Carolina, his mascot, and his Palm Bay incidents on the record. I wanted to put his inconsistencies on the stand. That's my intent. And he never showed up for court.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so that was the insurance card. Then he goes and I guess he's looking up their information in the car. And I think I sped through some of this.
Hey, my camera's on.
Nothing. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'll call you right after the stop, unless you want to come over here. I'm right on Eldron and Malbar. 1050.
Oh, is that you?
Yeah.
I played this because it was such a weird conversation. Like he already had 2 guys there, and then why did he tell her he was on speaker?
Well, one, he's probably more likely using his personal phone during business hours, which subjects him to public records requests. So he doesn't want to say anything that will identify that phone. And 2, by him taking that phone call, it has nothing to do with the traffic stop. He's now extending that traffic stop past the lawful time frame he can, because he's not doing anything other than now extend that traffic stop. And so that's why I'm glad you paused it here, but you can see now how officers will extend these traffic stops past their legal limits by simply taking a phone call like this. And but yeah, you're right. It's very strange. Oh, don't say anything bad. I got my body camera on. So yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it's like I thought that was interesting. I was like, what's going on there?
Mhm.
Alright.
We're gonna pull him out and talk to him. See if anything's in the car that he says he's not. She got super defensive. Eye contact, stuck for a seatbelt, and riding in the left lane under. They've got a bunch of involvements with the vehicle and her for like possession of use, drug paraphernalia and stuff. They were moving out a lot. I don't know if she's trying to get her seatbelt on or if she's trying to like put on something.
So did you kind of hear what he said there?
It was real hard, but I think he's trying to get consent. He's
The
going to
reason-
try to talk to her and get her out of the car and get consent to search it.
Yes, ma'am. The reason it's real hard, he's wearing his body camera on his belt line because he's learned. He's learned when it's up where it's supposed to be on his chest, you can hear what he says. But he tells the officer, I'm going to try to get consent. He never says, I'm going to pull him out of the vehicle for a probable cause search. He literally tells that officer, I'm going to try to get consent. And that's his whole agenda because he has no probable cause to pull Tracy out of this car and search it. But he'll make it up. But he's already told the officer, I'm trying to get consent. Had he have been doing a probable cause search, he would have warned that officer, I'm going to pull them out and I'm going to do a probable cause search. That way they all know that that driver and that passenger are coming out of their vehicle. But he didn't.
Well,
He
isn't
flat out
that
lied.
tough? I mean, aren't these other two officers, don't they see that this is not like a nice routine stop? I mean, they're kind of going
Yeah.
along with it.
Well, and I've said this. So Florida state statute, federal law says you have a duty to intervene. Palm Bay policy says you have a duty to intervene. When somebody is violating laws, which in this case, I believe laws were violated. I believe their civil rights were violated. When you're violating policy, which I believe policy was violated, because you'll see, I'm sure you're going to go into it, he absolutely berates her, starts cursing her out.
He
And
does.
so, yeah, and I'll tell you after we see that, I'll tell you what the city manager and a city council member says about that. And so, yeah, they should have intervened somewhere at any time. And if they didn't intervene, they have a duty to report, and none of that takes place. And that's
Yeah.
my problem. And when I talk about a culture, that's what I'm talking about. When there is not a single officer that will step up and speak out when they see these kind of violations. And that's the problem with the Palm Bay Police Department. A problem that I saw while I was there, and I spoke up against it, and they locked the door. They literally locked me out of the building.
So this is when he goes over and she steps out of the car.
Insurance. You can keep looking for it.
And he unlocks her car and then opens it up. He reached into her car and unlocked it.
Just like I said, I saw you moving around a bunch. You can come over here. I got a conversation with you. I saw you moving around a bunch inside the car where you just...
So you're right. Now it makes sense to me because when I was watching it, I was like, why is her head cut off? It's because he's wearing it on his belt. So
Yes,
now
ma'am.
that makes sense to me because when I was watching it, I was like, why is all of this cut off?
Because he learned.
Like touch something or do something.
I wasn't doing anything. I move around. I have anxiety.
Okay.
My feet move around. My feet hurt. I wasn't
Moving
doing
around a lot,
anything.
especially when they're being stopped.
Okay, well, you can assume what you want to assume because
I'm
there's
not assuming,
nothing.
I'm just asking.
No.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Nobody did anything like that.
Okay, so there's nothing illegal inside the car.
No.
She was telling the truth.
If I went through it,
You're not
Yes,
going to go
ma'am,
through
absolutely
it.
was.
So you're not going to find anything because you're not going to go through it. You can bring a dog out here, but you're not going in my car.
you're very defensive. I want to know why.
Because you guys have been, I got pulled over because I made a left turn at a green light when nobody was coming. You guys are fucking, you're attacking me. You're constantly harassing me. I've been pulled over so many times for bullshit things. Like, okay, if there's a green light at a left turn and nobody's coming, why do I have to yield? Do I have to yield when no one's coming? When it's clear?
I don't yield when nobody's coming. I just go.
No, and here's what's interesting. So she's talking about a previous time that she was stopped, and she said, "You guys are fucking harassing me," and she said bullshit. So those are the two times that she curses. She's not cursing at the officers. She's explaining a previous traffic stop. But you'll see how she gets berated here in a minute, and it's
She
just
does.
it's disturbing. And remember, this is a law-abiding citizen. So how many times in comments have you said, "Well, people would just." If they would just abide by the law, you know, if you weren't a criminal, this wouldn't happen. This is a lady driving on a main road, too slow in the left lane. She's a law-abiding citizen, and this is how this could be you or me, Joanne. This could have been you or I. It could have been.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Do I have to yield, yes or no?
I can't speak to a certain situation because I wasn't there. So I don't
Okay, I'm telling you, I was at a light and I was turning left. Jupiter into group. No cars were coming. The light turned green. I turned. The cop stopped me and said I had to yield before I turned. When there's no cars coming, I don't have to yield. So you guys are harassing me.
Like I said, I mean, it depends on several different factors. I mean,
And we were going the same damn speed
Is
limits.
there people coming towards
We were going the
you?
same
Is there
speed
people
limit.
making a right-hand turn?
There was nobody but me and the cop.
Like I said, I don't know.
It's fine. Do what you got to do. I don't give you permission to go through my car.
She was clear.
And I have that right.
Absolutely.
So get your dog and waste your
You're
time.
not going to tell me what to do. I'm not going to waste my time.
You're not going to
You're
tell
not
me
going
what
to
to
my
do.
car.
I'm going to continue to talk to you, continue to talk to him.
Okay, well, you're not going in my car.
Because I saw you moving around. And I am going to actually tell you, yes, I am going to go through the driver's area where you were moving around because
You don't have permission to do that.
I don't need your permission.
You do though. That's my property.
Movements. So
then why would you ask? Why have I been asked multiple times? I have it on video.
Because I want to know if you are going to come clean with me and let me know what you were doing.
I wasn't doing anything but driving.
Like I said, I'm going to go through that immediate.
Now, see, I felt like he was harassing her now because he's calling her a liar, basically.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, well, no matter what you say, come on, you're lying to me. Just come clean.
100%. And he's changed the story now. Oh, you had furtive movements. Now I'm going to do a probable cause search. Before it was, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do a consent search. Now, well, I am going to search your vehicle. And he's basically telling her, yeah, because of furtive movements. What case law is very clear about furtive movements. Unless you believe that there's contraband or a weapon, just movement alone. And 3 different people in this video said that she was manipulating her seatbelt. Even Rollins at the end was like, yep, I guess she was manipulating her seatbelt. But yeah, he's going to use that to violate her rights. Yeah, he's a liar. This is, I mean, you can see how he changed his story, telling the officers, I'm going to do a consent search. And now because she said no, I guess he thought he would outsmart her and get her to consent. But when she knew her rights, now he's pissed. You're not going to tell me what to do, and I am going to search your vehicle. And it only escalates from there.
Yep.
Area.
Have at it. Have at it. Waste your time. I don't care. Okay.
You said that. Step over here.
I need a paper to get my
You're
insurance.
going to step over here. You're going to go in handcuffs. That's the last time I'm going to tell you to fucking do something.
Chris,
you understand me?
don't curse at me.
No, I'm going to fucking tell you what to do.
Okay, now I'm going to record you for
Now you're
cursing
going to go
at
in
me.
handcuffs because you're starting to get aggressive.
Okay.
And we're not going to deal with this shit.
Hey
so
Siri,
put your hands behind your back.
turn on my camera.
See, what bothered me about this is the other officer allowed him to do that. And I thought there was no reason for it to go there.
Ma'am, the other officer is the FOP president.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
that upset me because I was like, he's bullying her now.
Yes.
He's pushing his power all over the place, and there's no reason for her to be in handcuffs. She should have got her 2 citations and she should have been gone. And it's already like, I don't know, 15 minutes into it, something like that.
Yes, ma'am. And he hasn't even written the citations yet.
No.
He still hasn't written the citations. He's extended this traffic stop unlawfully ever since before that phone call. But that's the problem. So you have the FOP president standing right there, and he doesn't say anything. And when I talk about a culture, if you don't think that there's problems inside the Palm Bay Police Department, you better know that there are. When that FOP president, the guy who is supposed to protect all the officers against the administration, is standing there and he does nothing. So what that FOP president has just told every other officer in Palm Bay, I will protect you. And also, I will allow officers to disrespect our name, to disrespect our badge, and to disrespect the Palm Bay Police Department. So in reality, when he's protecting this single officer, he's placed every other officer inside the Palm Bay Police Department under the scrutiny, under the microscope that no officer wants to be under. So this FOP president could have protected his entire police department by doing something with this officer. Because remember, this officer's on probation. He's not under the protection of the FOP. He's not represented by the union. So this president chose this one officer who's not protected over his entire union, over every officer that he is entitled to protect. So he failed his entire membership by not stepping in and intervening. Because these 3 officers, and I say 3 because they're all on scene, they all had a duty to intervene, they all had a duty to report, violated her civil rights. They all violated the law and they violated the policy.
Yeah, there was a few things that I saw with this video.
The entire time, and we've been nothing but respectful. You are doing something. You committed 2 traffic infractions. Now you're going to come over here.
Yeah, 2 traffic infractions should have been done by now.
Whether you like it or not, or whether you understand it because you're uneducated, I don't know what your issue is, okay? But you made 2 infractions, and you want to sit here and argue. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I'm not asking you. Do you understand that? Because now I'm done. Now I'm not being nice anymore. So do you like where you got yourself?
Can you get your hand off of me?
No, because you're in my control.
You're pulling on
Sit
me.
down.
I have a red mark on me, Chris.
Good.
Did you hear that?
She's been
Yep.
like that the entire time.
I have a red mark on me, and he
All
said
right.
good.
Chris, is there anything illegal inside the car? I saw everybody
Not that I'm
moving around.
aware of.
Okay.
What we were doing, she
Can
was
you
putting
just
her
let me know
seatbelt on.
what was she moving around and trying to hide?
Put her seatbelt
Put her
on.
seatbelt on.
What does she have in the car that's illegal?
As far as I know, nothing, honestly. Maybe a roach or something. She smokes pot, so...
Okay, where's that roach going to be at?
It's like he's trying so hard to find something. Like her friends just say, well, maybe a roach because I know she smokes pot, but he's not saying he saw her smoke it, and but he's just trying to cover his butt because he knows she smokes pot. And what if he did search it and found it and he said no? You know what I mean? The pressure is there's so much pressure he's putting on these civilians right now.
And then this gentleman, who sounds like his name Chris, you don't think he's going to comply? He just watched the driver, who was absolutely complying, doing everything she can do legally, and now she's in cuffs and thrown in a car. And keep in mind, how many officers are on scene right now, Joanne?
3. There's 3 altogether.
Correct. So how many is with the prisoner right now?
Just none.
None.
Well, there's one. They're all
None.
standing there at that car, and she's in
She's
the other
sitting in
car.
that car by herself right now. Could have a medical episode. Could be gone. We have people fleeing scenes all the time. So there is nobody watching her. She could be reading the computer screen. She could be, God forbid, pulling a gun out because they didn't really search her. She could be eating her dope right now, or she could be having a heart attack. Mm-hmm. And this is what you see. They literally let her sit there, and we see this time and time again. And so this whole traffic stop is full of policy violations. And we heard where he starts cursing her out. You're not going to effing tell me what to do. And so I talked to a city council member, and he says he talked to the city manager, and that was okay because she cursed first. Because the Palm Bay Police Department allows officers to use profanity. And so I was like, I was the deputy chief. You're out of your mind. What the policy says is you can use profanity in a last resort to de-escalate a situation. Do you think profanity was used in this situation to de-escalate?
No, it was to demoralize her.
And to escalate. So yeah, there may be times if somebody's just cursing you out and screaming at you, and the only language they know is profanity, absolutely. To get on their level, we may do that, and to calm them down. But that's not the case here. And the city manager, per a city council member, literally condoned this type of behavior against this citizen because she used the F-bomb and bullshit while trying to talk about a previous traffic stop. Mm-hmm. And that's how they condone this behavior. And this is absolutely policy violations.
Wow.
Is that what she was trying to get rid of?
No, honestly, she was trying to put her seatbelt on.
It's like I just told her, I need to
on.
go through that immediate area where she was moving around.
That's fine.
Where I could see you guys reaching.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, the only thing I could think of is there might be a roach in there, but what she was doing was trying to put her seatbelt on.
I'm going to ask you one more time, just because I want to provide you that opportunity. Because if I find
one more
something
time
here, she's denying any possession of anything in that vehicle. If I find something that was stashed, I'm going to charge you both.
Well, I don't know that she stashed anything. Like I said, there might be a roach in this car because she's not very responsible. She was smoking, she'll leave it. But as far as stashing anything, there was nothing being stashed. I don't want to go to jail. I wouldn't lie about it. I've been to jail my whole life. It's the last thing I want to do right now. So I'm telling the truth.
Okay. You mind if I pat you down real quick?
Watch his pat down.
Can I,
This pat down was just so disgusting to me. He didn't even have gloves on.
pull everything out of your pocket? So you mind with that? All right.
Search the shit out of me. And this is mine too.
All right.
I was like, what in the world was that?
You go ahead and step back with this.
And here's the other thing, is he's asked him for consent to pat him down. That is not a consensual opportunity. He's dominated by a police department or by police officers. He's being interrogated. At that point, he should be read his rights, but he cannot consent to a search. He can legally not consent to a search because that is a police officer dominated, and he's forced into that search.
Yep, and this is him. He went all over the car. He didn't just check the front seat. He
Correct.
went
He
in
said
the back
2
seat.
times, immediate area. I'm going to check the immediate area. But he doesn't. He goes way outside the scope that he even says he's allowed to go outside. This whole traffic stop is violating laws, policy, and nothing. They didn't even look. They didn't. When I brought this to them, they didn't even look at it.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. And she's in the car forever.
I
Yeah.
wasn't worried about anything.
1967 out of New Jersey.
So you're gonna receive the 2 citations, okay?
Yeah, whatever.
If I take you out of handcuffs, are you gonna calm down?
I didn't do anything.
Okay, that's not what I asked you.
She was never uncalm.
I wasn't belligerent.
Okay.
I wasn't moving around. All I
You were
said
moving
is you
around.
couldn't. I'm gonna record this because you don't have a right to check my car unless I give you permission.
Ma'am, when you're making,
I wasn't doing anything. That's your assumption.
you were, because he
Okay,
just confirmed
all right.
that you were.
All right. Because I have anxiety. My legs shake all the damn
Yeah.
time.
And when you do that, it gives us reason. I can search that
Okay.
immediate reach area. Okay.
Did you find anything?
It's just
No,
crazy.
and
Exactly.
you know what?
Exactly.
Like he just
Can you please
stated,
let
all
me
you
out?
got.
I think it's
go home?
amazing
No,
how
because-
relaxed
No, I can't
she
go
is.
home?
No, you're detained right now on a traffic stop.
Absolutely.
Okay, so hurry up and do what you gotta do. Stop talking.
You know, because
Okay.
I've seen other
I need to
people.
get me one of these.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I would be furious. I wouldn't be that composed.
Yeah, it looks like she was probably just trying to put the seatbelt on.
And there he says, "Yep,
No,
she was
I
just trying to put the
wasn't.
seatbelt on."
You were. He just said you were. He just confirmed it. I can see. I've got eyes.
Who confirmed what?
Whatever.
So now, if you're a law-abiding citizen like she is, and you get pulled over, and Rollins sees you putting or taking off your seatbelt, he believes now he can put you in handcuffs, throw you in the back of a car, leave you there for 20 to I forget, I think it was 20 some minutes, and search your vehicle, all because maybe you took your seatbelt off to grab the registration out of your car that we all do. Rollins now believes he can throw you in handcuffs because you throw out an F-bomb, and he could throw you in the back of a car. And nobody told him, and you know why? He still believes that today because nobody's told him he can't do that. Nobody's told him he can't do that.
Well, you know, this is important work that you're doing. And I know that you're not doing it to bash the police, but you're doing it to say, hey, look, we got to make these changes to improve the police department because there are a lot of really good people out there that are wearing that uniform that get treated like crap because people are experiencing this type of interaction with police officers that need either more training or need to work in a different profession, you know?
Yes, ma'am. And you know, I've asked to meet with the leaders at the Palm Beach Police Department. I've asked to meet with them. I've asked to meet with leaders at the West Melbourne Police Department because of a video I put out where an officer literally knocks on the door and takes a lady's firearm from her and hands it over to the ex-husband. And so I've asked to meet with these police departments because you're right. If you watch these videos, and there's a horrific one from Newark PD that's going out with 2 detectives that just brutalized a gentleman that was inside of a liquor store where he is just beat down by 2 cops. And when those videos come out, that hurts law enforcement all across this country. When George Floyd happened or Ferguson happened, it was law enforcement all over this country. I remember being in a Walmart parking lot during the Ferguson riots and juveniles literally chanting, "Hands up, don't shoot." And so when these type of videos, when there's officers out there like Sean Rollins, who you can Google him, Google South Carolina, and he's made the papers. He's all over the papers for the riots out there. And when these officers are out there, they're causing mayhem for the other officers. And this is what I try to tell my city leadership, if you truly support the Palm Bay Police Department, then hold some of these officers accountable because you can't protect one and throw everybody else to the wayside because these videos hurt all the other officers. And that's the problem I have because these 3 officers, even though they weren't Rollins in this video, they will be sued. She's seeking an attorney. And if she can find one, all 3 officers will be sued, and they should be because they should have intervened. It just happened. A gentleman just filed a lawsuit for a scooter. He was on a Segway, and the next thing you know, he's being slammed on the ground. He's hospitalized. They write false police reports, and every officer on scene is being sued. And that's what I try to tell our city leaders. Protect all of the officers. Don't put them in a position where they have to rat out or intervene because then their career is over. And
Yeah, because officers have like a code where they don't like ratting each other out. That's what us civilians believe. We believe that they've got a code that they don't like ratting each other out, but you kind of need to, intervene. Like either the FOP that was there that you said he should have been the lead to intervene, you
Yes,
know,
ma'am. He had a
especially.
duty. He had a duty to protect his membership that day, and he did not. And you're right. There is a code. It's called the thin blue line. And I say that's we versus them mentality. That thin blue line is designed to protect the law enforcement officers from the citizens. And I talk about that. And I talk about that duty to intervene. And remember, I was locked out of the building. And here's a concept that I came up with just last week. It hit me. We hear police chiefs and we hear officers, I'll give my life for strangers. My officers will give up their lives for strangers, right? So they'll take a bullet for a citizen, but they won't give up their career for a citizen. Those two officers on scene, they weren't willing to jeopardize their career to go report Officer Sean Rollins for misconduct because their career, like mine, would have been over. So they would have given their life for Tracy Lewis that day. Had somebody been driving by with a gun, they would have thrown themselves in front of Tracy Lewis and protected her from the bullet, but they weren't willing to go to their supervisor for Tracy Lewis and say, hey, Officer Sean Rollins just violated this lady's rights. He literally just berated her. He violated policy. So they weren't willing to jeopardize their career, but they're willing to give up their life. And that concept to me that concept is baffling for me because I would have been in the same boat for 25 years. I had that same mentality. I heard brotherhood, family, thin blue line so many times that it was ingrained in me. And
Wow.
it's not real. It's all a we versus them mentality. Law enforcement versus the citizens, and I talk about it.
Almost got to do like events for specifically police officers to uh, remind them how important their role is, and that they're not lowering their pride by, intervening. They're actually helping that officer to be a better officer by intervening and then protecting the civilians' rights. I know CSPOA does, does events to teach officers to be more constitutional, sheriffs and police officers, but there should be something more locally for officers because they are so important to us. They help protect us on the streets, but they also have to remember their rights. I don't know if it was you or Mike Dilks that said it. They read their oath and then they never see it again.
Yeah, I did that I spoke about that on James Madison audits when I interviewed with him, and I talked about that. You read it when you first get sworn in, and then if you get promoted. Other than that, you'll never see it again. And it's interesting you talk about training. So last week I was actually invited by a Liberty Troll. He's a First Amendment auditor, and he got invited to Eustis Police Department to do First Amendment training up there. And so we got 2 hours to go inside the police department and talk about them. And what I spoke about was the long-term effects that bad encounters have on citizens, the legal the legal fees that they deal with, the PTSD, the hatred for the police departments, that their encounter with that citizen will forever change their life, good or bad. And that's what I was trying to impress on them, is that when you mistreat your citizens, they will never get over that. They will never forget how you made them feel. And so, yeah, training is important.
Yeah, and then we see videos like in New York City where they're dumping, liquids over the officers walking down the street and they can't do anything. It's like that's the last thing you want to see an officer going through.
Yes, ma'am. And it's these videos that create that hate. People say all the time, you create your own hate. But it's these videos. So these officers, when they don't report this kind of behavior, the fact that they condone Officer Sean Rollins on that traffic stop, that they might as well condone the hate that comes with it. Because you're right. We don't want to see that kind of activity towards officers. We don't want to see the we versus them. We don't want to see the citizens berating and taking it out on the police officers. But that's what happens when you don't hold officers accountable. That's what happens when you condone the officers' violent behavior and their civil rights violations. When you condone that kind of stuff, you almost, in a sense, have to condone the reactions that you're going to receive from it. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that one officer can just put such a mark on the whole department, and it's not fair to all the other officers.
Not just the
So,
department, the profession as a whole. Like I said, if an officer in California does something and when it goes viral, that officer in Palm Bay will hear about it. When that officer in Palm Bay does something that goes viral, that officer in California will be judged on what the officer in Palm Bay did. That's just how it is in law enforcement. It's not fair, but that's how it is.
Yeah. Well, this was a really great day to have you on because, a lot's going on in the nation and we've got officers out there, working hard, and we want to see them safe and we want them to keep us safe. And what you're doing is good, just like CSPOA. So keep up the good work, and hopefully you'll do more events. Come to Vero Beach and do an event here. Get with our police department here and our sheriff's department, and share stories on how to, you know, make it easier for them to intervene. Like, you're not turning against your brother by intervening. You know what I mean? Like, make it a good thing to intervene, not a
There,
bad thing.
yes, ma'am. There should be systems in place that allow officers to speak out, but there are not. They're absolutely not, and that is unfortunate. And hopefully, we will get some training. There's all kinds of leadership training out there, and I would love to see more on duty to intervene, duty to report. How do you respectfully tell an officer or a supervisor, hey, that didn't go right, and not be locked out of the building like I was.
Yeah, and sit down and talk about it and how to handle it the next time, you
Yes,
know?
ma'am.
All
Absolutely.
right. Well, thank you, Lance Fisher. And everybody go to Thin Blue Lie Audits. Find him on YouTube. There's a lot of videos there and they're educational. You learn and you can see what's going on. And we'll have you back on, I hope, in the near future.
I hope so too. I certainly thank you for giving me that opportunity. Yeah, I've been working on Thin Blue Lie audits. It was actually created because I couldn't get anywhere with my city council, my city leadership. So I went home on October the 3rd and Googled how to start a YouTube channel, and that's how it all started. And I've had tremendous support from people like you, Mike Dilks, James Madison Audits, Long Island Audits. I just did one with Dominic Izzo. And Dominic, it was funny. He said, "I'm glad finally that a deputy chief got screwed over." And I was like, "Well, you're right, because nobody believes it with an officer." So I appreciate your time, and absolutely anytime you want to have me on here, I will absolutely speak, because I do want to change this profession. It's important for these officers to be held accountable. It's important for all the officers out there that officers are held accountable. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. You have a good evening.
You too, ma'am. Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us here at Binford Chronicles. We love our officers. We love our sheriffs. It's a very difficult field out there. These guys are dealing with all kinds of personalities, all kinds of danger, and we need to give these guys the support. And if you're out there with your buddy officer and you see that he's overstepping, intervene. It's not a bad thing. Intervene. Remember, it's your reputation as well as a department and as an officer. So help him out, train him, teach him, pull him back in. We don't have to hang them all, but if we don't intervene, you don't intervene, he's going to keep up that behavior to the point where he might not be retrainable. So guys, stick together. Love our police officers, love our sheriffs. Have a great day. Thank you for joining Binford Chronicles.
There's a kind of strength you can't buy or borrow. It's born in the fire, tempered by sacrifice, and carried by those who never stopped serving. Some heroes wear uniforms. Others wear scars. They're veterans, first responders, and Gold Star families. Men and women who gave everything and still keep giving. At the Warrior Shield Foundation, we stand beside them, shoulder to shoulder, providing the support, the care, and the community they deserve. We're a proud non-profit, a 501c3, built to protect those who protect us. We don't just serve our own. We help other nonprofits reach their missions too, because together, we make the Shield stronger. Donate and help our cause. Help their cause. Because every act of kindness builds hope where the battle still rages inside. Join the mission. Donate today. Visit warriorshield.org. Because heroes deserve a foundation as strong as their sacrifice.